We have to get photographic evidence of this, don't we? Hey, welcome back to Music Teacher's Muse. So today I'm actually doing some playing today. The last video we released, episode 7, try to start your students on electric instruments whenever possible. We went over some basic styles of instruments. You know, I showed you my 7-string, my Ibanez S custom, which we're going to review in this lesson. But for anybody who's new to teaching or hasn't played a whole bunch of different styles of guitars, we're going to go through 11 different instruments, starting with this classical instrument, on just the basic differences between them and what you might find in the average music store, including just about everything with what we have here. We're going to cover most of the bases. So what I've got here is, to start off, is a classical. This is a nylon string, and this is a Fender, and this belongs to my good friend Max, who's filming here from TimeEnds Productions. This is an instrument that a lot of people will want to start with because we discussed in the previous lesson about the acoustic being harder to begin with. These strings are nylon, and they have a really unique tone to them. These things sound gorgeous. But the neck is freaking, it's a damn elephant trunk. It's just huge. So that's part of the discomfort of this instrument. It's kind of bulky, like an acoustic, not as big as the Yamaha over here, which we're going to get to next, but it really is, it's just kind of a small bodied one. But for ease of playing, like, I know if I play on this for very long, my hands are huge, but this neck is, see how wide it is this way and this way. It's not the most comfortable. So for like chords, you have to spread your fingers out farther this way across the neck. So for young kids and beginners, ease of pushing the strings down is one thing, but it's definitely still got its challenges. And one thing too, if you're playing, now any classical purist will be aghast at me playing a classical guitar with a pick. But we're talking beginners here, and some of them, they buy these and they want to learn how to play AC/DC, so you just got to adapt and go with it. But there's one thing about these that you should know. If you don't, you can only get so much volume out of these strings even with a pick. Like if I'm really soft, really loud, but I can only hit it so hard. I'm slamming the piss out of the strings right up. That's all the louder it goes. That's not very loud. You'll notice a big difference when I do it on the acoustic here in a minute. So this is the nylon string classical. Again, not a huge body, but still thicker than the average electric by a good amount, about twice the thickness. Huge neck, wide, easy to press the strings down, light. Not sure what the price on an average decent one is, but probably around $300 to start. So this is the Yamaha FG830. This is a $300 acoustic, last I knew. I got this a couple years ago at the Guitar Center I work at. And notice the body's a little thicker than the classical back here. And this one is, show you like this pick better for acoustic tone. And it's just got a really great sound to it. Again, but notice how much thinner this neck is than the classical. It's noticeably thinner. The fretboard's not as wide either. Still not a super thin neck, but it's noticeably thinner than that. So, you know, really nice, crisp. And then when you have the dynamics, notice how much louder it is when you just really hit the strings. You can control that a lot more on this guitar than you can the classical. And again, I can't recommend this model enough because it's a great price, like about the minimum you should spend, and it's comfortable. But again, it's an acoustic, so if you have a kid with small hands, make sure that you probably don't want to start them on this. Like if you're an adult and you're just starting, then I would recommend maybe try it. If you insist on playing acoustic, I still insist primarily start everybody on electric instruments, but we're covering all the bases here as much as we can. So that's the acoustic guitar. So here we've got your standard Fender Stratocaster, Strat for short. This is my best friend Patrick's guitar. Thank you, sir. This is not a common instrument for me to play because I play instruments with this shape, but these kind of pickups, and this is a great guitar, just not what I usually go for. But we're covering all the bases here. So it's a cool guitar. I've played this guitar quite a bit. This is actually a really super nice one. This is a 1987 USA. So, but this is a standard Strat. So you've got 3 single coil pickups, which have a brighter but not as big tone as a humbucker, which we're going to cover in all the other electrics after we get to the guitar after this. So as far as the electric sounds, I've got the amp. This is a PV JSX Joe Satriani. I've got all of the EQ on the clean, the crunch, and the ultra set pretty much exactly the same at a roughly the same volume. I'm just going to play a couple of things on a clean setting and then go to a crunch and then go to the ultra. So it's clean, dirty, dirtier. So you just get a basic idea of what they all sound like. This is all going to help students choose instruments and explain this to people, because you work in a music store or a school where they have stuff people are going to ask you, and so the more informed you are, the better you can help them choose, and the better you can help yourself get more students because you'll know more about the instruments. So here we go. I'm just going to play some minor key stuff here. That's the bridge pickup. Go to the next setting. The warmer it gets, the closer you get to the neck. So that's the clean setting. Really great sounding guitar. And then we're going to go to the crunch. And that is the crunch. Now we got the ultra. Same settings, but a little gnarlier, a little louder. For those of you who didn't know, for the dearly departed Eddie Van Halen, that was a riff of his called Humans Beings, one of my favorite Van Halen riffs. For all the dirty stuff, I'm going to be playing that riff. God bless Eddie. This is a Mexican Telecaster, I believe. Yeah, it says made in Mexico right in the headstock. Okay. And let's kick it off, stand by. This is a very different guitar than a Strat, still made by Fender, but you've got a 3-way switch, a tone, or sorry, volume and tone, and then this has two single coil pickups. The Strat has 3 and a 5-way switch. You can have a guitar wired about any way you want. So here's the clean tone on the bridge. Really full sounding. Usually a Tele has a lot brighter clean tone. I've played some Teles that are painfully bright. It's like, ugh, when you hear the highs. It's so you have to roll the tone down or turn the highs on the amp down. But sometimes that doesn't do much good because they can get gnarly. But this one sounds really big. That's the middle setting, a blend of the 2 pickups. Then we have the neck pickup. And then you have, notice the neck profile. I forgot to do that on the Strat, but it's still pretty thin. Teles usually have a fairly beefy neck. And this is a little heavier, but it's not super uncomfortably heavy. The Strat, I think, has a similar neck profile. It's a little beefier than this. This is a 21 fret. I believe the Strat had 22 on it. That's pretty common. Usually Fenders don't have any more than 21 or 22 frets. All right, now it's time to get dirty. There's the crunch. Now we're going to add some more gain. Really ballsy for a Tele. Sometimes they sound a little too thin. This one's sounds really full for a single coil pickup. I'm a humbucker guy, but I can't hardly tell it's not a single coil. Yes, Patrick, I said that. My best friend Patrick, who owns the Strat, we have a war between which better, the single coil and the humbucker. It's pretty entertaining for us. You'd be surprised I said that too. Here's the Ultra drum. Really nice. Okay. Usually a lot of people use these for, you can play metal on a Tele. It's not your usual go-to for that, but as you can tell, it handles that pretty well. I also notice when I kick in that, how noisy it is. There's one disadvantage of the single coil pickup, if you don't know about this stuff, is that they're really noisy. It has more hum. If I kick in the Ultra, which is a lot higher gain, it's definitely noisier. So that's the Telecaster. So this is my workhorse guitar. And this is an Ibanez RG, which stands for Roadstar Guitar, because the old Ibanez had like a banana-shaped headstock, and it was kind of this shape, but not quite. But you notice this is very similar to the Strat. Most of the electrics I have, they're shaped like a Fender Strat body, because almost everything is a Les Paul, a Tele, or a Strat shape. Everything else is total something different than that. So this is a whole different animal than the other guitars we've gone over so far. So we've had the classical, the acoustic, the Strat, and the Tele. This is number 5. This is an RG Prestige 2550Z GK. GK stands for Galaxy Black, which is the finish. But you notice it's got humbucker, single humbucker, and then there's 24 frets. You can see by the 2 dots at the end, that's the 24th fret. You got 12 here, 24 up there. And then you've also got, this is a Floyd Rose style bridge, so you can do all the crazy dive bombs. You can raise and lower the notes pretty drastically. And then you got the locking nut, which keeps it in tune. Without that being clamped down, if I crank the strings back and forth, it won't stay in tune. And then this is what you would call a super Strat. So like the Fender, the red one that I showed you a little bit ago, that is a traditional Strat, single, 5-way switch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the Strat's always got 2 tone knobs and 1 volume. This has 1 master volume for everything, and 1 tone knob, master volume, master tone. And this is actually a really super versatile guitar. I can do everything on this thing. It's like a Swiss Army knife. But these are known for being like shredder and high performance instruments, because people use them for that kind of playing. But they're more versatile than they're given credit for. So here's some clean tones on the bridge pickup. Notice it's quite a bit brighter. This is the Marzio Evolution in the bridge here. So you do each selection. Major volume difference when you go to the 4th position. This is the middle pickup. That the neck pickup is louder than the bridge. Usually the bridge pickup is loudest and brightest, but this is an old super distortion and the magnet is huge, so it just really gives you a lot of balls. So now we get to the dirty side of things. A little dirtier. this is like a Super Strat, but we reviewed this one in the last video. And it's kind of the same body shape, but again, notice the super thin neck. This is a 22 fret guitar, and it's also single hum. But it's just a different version of the same kind of animal. It's a little bit lighter. Body's mahogany instead. The other one was basswood. And this one's just a little bit hotter actually. This pickup is super loud. So same switching system, same everything. Just real quick, here's the clean tone. I guess this is the third one I have. The neck pickup seems to be louder than the bridge, which is hard to believe because this is a stupid hot pickup. This is a Deactivator X. But this is actually an old one. It's a 1995. So you probably won't find this in your general neighborhood music store if you find them online. But they're a fabulous, fabulous instrument. A lot of the guys on the Ibanez forum say they're one of the best guitars they ever made. So here we go to the dirty. That's a very nice crunch. I'll go to the ultra. I don't know about you guys, but I like the crunch sound on this amp better than do the ultra. Let me know in the comments below which one you like better. This one's pretty light. This is an LTD EC1000. I used to have one of these. Notice the neck's pretty thin and the body's pretty thin, but this is what you call a single cut. It's only got one cutaway on one side of the neck. Otherwise, when you go up here, you got to do this to get to the higher frets. Also 24 fret, and then you've got twin humbucker, three-way switch, and then you have 2 volumes and 1 tone. So you got a volume for each pickup. On your traditional Les Paul, you have a volume and tone for each pickup. So there's 4 knobs. And this is a mahogany body with, I believe, a mahogany neck, and it's got the locking tuners and everything on it. This is going to sound quite a bit different because it's in drop C tuning, but it actually is kind of cool because Les Paul is known for the low end, so we're just going to get an idea of what that sounds like with that going on. So we got... resonance, a lot of low end coming out of that. Okay, and then we've got the middle, which is a blend of both. Definitely a little thicker. And the neck pickup, super thick. So let's check out the dirty. And we're just going to do some... pretty meaty. Middle selection. Much thicker. It's almost too much low end, if you ask me. It's thick. I didn't expect that because usually a thinner body like that, you wouldn't think it would do that. But every guitar is really different. Let's check out the Ultra. I have a rule. I teach my students this too. It is a sin to play metal rhythm guitar on the neck pickup. Abide. But it doesn't actually sound that bad on this one, but it's usually too thick. It just doesn't cut, doesn't have the balls and the definition. That's kind of a joke, but not really. I kind of take that seriously because it usually sounds like ass. But in this case, actually pretty cool. So that is your Les Paul style body. The next one we have is Gibson Explorer. This is an actual Gibson. I'm going to stand up with this one because it looks cool. This is the James Hetfield. A lot of metal guys use this type of instrument. And when I get the V out after this, I'm going to stand up with that too. So, this is again in standard tuning. Pardon me, I'm sweating like crazy. Okay, so this is I believe mahogany, I'm not sure entirely, but it's really light. And then it's just got the switch here, 3-way. And then again, 2 volumes and a tone. So, and the volume for the bridge pickups up in the middle. I just love that. Okay. So there's your clean tone on the bridge. Pretty full sounding. Okay. Let's go to very nice. All right, let's try the Ultra. I still like the crunch best on this amp. The Ultra is the channel you only use for me when you need a sickly distorted metal tone, which is not a bad thing, but it's almost too much gain. So this guitar is not your typical V. This is a Bernie Rico Jr. Vixen, and actually not last week, but recently Bernie Rico just died too. So R.I.P. to him. This is a bit of a pain to get this on here. This is a different kind of V because you've got this on the inside. So you're not going to find this at your average music store either, but I wanted to show everybody the different styles of electrics you're going to run across. So just, you know what, I think I put that on the wrong end. Let's try that. Okay. All right. So the V, what? I twisted the strap. Dang it, you can edit this out.
No, actually, it shows how much of a pain in the ass it is to own cool-looking guitars.
Yeah, actually, this is correct because you want that to go where it latches here. So let me put it on like this. That's easier. Yeah. As you can probably tell, viewers, I don't play this guitar that often. And the person who I received this guitar from, I know is laughing from the heavens, because a good friend of mine owned this before it was finished, and I'm really honored to own it. My good friend Nick Appelman was the owner of this guitar. Rest in peace. And this one has pickups in it I don't usually care for, but it looks cool, and it's a really awesome metal guitar. Now, the thing I mentioned before, this isn't too bad, but with the V, you have to get the strap out because even playing like a normal V, this part rests against your leg, but this kind of juts into your leg, and then literally it usually does this. So even sitting down with it, it's really uncomfortable. You have to get the strap out and put it on. So these are active pickups. This is a 24 fret guitar, by the way, 15, 17, 19, 21. Yeah, Nick wouldn't know anything but 24 fret guitar. And this is a Floyd Rose original. Same type of bridges on the Ibanez's, but it's just a different design. This is like the original locking trim design, locking nut. And then just got a 3-way switch, no tone, just a volume. And V's are really simple. They're nice because there's no cutaway up here, so you can get to everything really easily. And they just, how cool does this thing look, you know? So we'll do some clean tones. It's brighter than I remember. If I could play the chord right. And last I remember, this is a mahogany body. Okay, so let's go to the 30. Middle. Honestly, I have to wonder why a guitar like this even has a neck pickup. Because as much as I love my neck pickup, I just can't see too many people using it in this kind of instrument. And I hate EMGs with what they are, 8160, but these don't sound really that bad to me right now. So that's the most exaggerated guitar we have. You also find Jackson Kelly's and Ibanez Zyphos. That's a real monster of a guitar, but just the size of this thing is huge. So size matters. This is an Ibanez S5527. I forget the name, the numbers afterwards. Does it say on the back? No. But this is a Prestige. I have 3 of these. The RG you saw earlier in the video is an RG Prestige. This is an S model, like the green one. But notice it's noticeably thinner, super thin neck. It's about the same thickness as the locking tuners on it. This is a discontinued model. Practically everything I own is like that. And then it's got this fixed bridge, no Floyd Rose, and 2 humbuckers and a 5-way switch. Everything else we looked at so far had it had 2 pickups with either a 3-way switch or had 3 pickups with a 5-way. This is 2 pickups with a 5-way. Now the 7-string has a low B string on it because it has an extra added string. So this thing is actually incredibly versatile. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. First time I took this out of the case, I about shit as far as that top on it. But tone of low end. So it's very kind of boomy in the lows. You don't want to. Oh, that's because the tone knob is turned all the way down. So it's still definitely got some oomph. It's ridiculous because the thing is so thin and it's so light, you wouldn't think it would have that much low end, but it sounds massive. These are bare knuckle pickups. First time I've ever owned these. Old student actually sold this to me, and these are made in the UK. They're very expensive, like $170 a piece or something. But this is not a cheap guitar. This is about $2,000 if you get a new one. This is a discontinued model, but anyway, this is the 7-string, and again, I don't recommend you start anybody who's a beginner on this thing. 6-string is difficult enough, but it's a really good example of a high quality one. So, and this is all the Ibanez in this video are Japanese, correct? Is the 8-string an Ibanez? Japanese?
It is an Ibanez, yes.
Is it Japanese?
It is not Japanese.
Okay. Is it the dreaded I word?
Oh, look at the time.
It must be. Well, it's not mine, so that's okay. So just a few tones out of this thing. So we just get. That's the bridge pickup. Really stinking loud. This amp really brings brings out the clean tone of everything because it's super ultra crystal clear clean. And you got the neck pickup. For something that looks this beastly, it's amazing how clear the clean tone is. Because if this is not a typical tube amp, usually they'll break up a little bit, and you'll get some actual natural distortion out of that. Because this pickup is like one of the hottest made. It's called a Ragnarok. This is called a Nail Bomb. So they have some cool names for their pickups. So let's get some raunch going on this thing. You can't beat that. Not sure what setting this is. It's the one just before the neck. It's a little different with the 5-way. You got the neck. Man, that's thick. So there you have it. That is the crunch. Let's try the ultra just on the bridge pickup real quick. Yeah, not a subtle instrument, but gorgeous nonetheless. We have to get photographic evidence of this, don't we? This is an 8-string, all right? Now, unless you're toasting a bossy from Animals as Leaders, if you want to see some disgustingly, holy shit, how the hell does he do that kind of musicianship out of any one of the 3 guys in that band, that's a band to check out. It's not for the weak, it's not for the subtle, it's not for the average listener by any means. Like jazz and metal and everything thrown in between, they play these. And I don't think he's even with Ibanez anymore. I'm not even sure. But Tosin is the main guy, and then Javier, I don't know what the drummer's name is. But this is
really? Oh, we gotta cut. It fucking died.
All right. Should we just? This is the Ibanez 8-string. It's an RG8. Okay, so it's same basic RG Strat style Ibanez body shape. 2 pickups, 3-way switch. 1 volume, 1 tone, and same, really super same thing. It's not as thin as the 7-string, I can tell, but same general headstock. That's Ibanez for you, unless you get like a Talman or something that's different body shape. But 24 frets, and I don't even have any clue what pickups these are. They're just stock. And this has an extra. So you've got E, B, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp. If you tune it normally, this is. My God, it's a disgusting amount of love. But the guy that owns this, Max, did recommend, he didn't go from a 6 to a 7-string, he went from a 6 to an 8-string, and I can't recommend doing that either. I just got my 7-string when I played previous to this a few months ago, and I'm still not completely used to it. You tend to hit that low B and think that it's an E when it's not if you're used to a 6. So, would not advise that whatsoever. I would not advise playing one of these at all. Unless you're like into the really extreme where you actually have to play music in a style that accommodates this, because it's like I say play a guitar or play a bass, but pick one. This is just too much low. It's like an elephant fart. But not that I've been privy to one in person, but that's what I have compared it to. So it's loud and like not disgusting, but just like too damn much. So and literally the guitar is a mid-range instrument, so just kind of defeats the purpose of it being a guitar, if you ask me. Even though it's got that, and these strings are so heavy you can barely even bend them because of the, I'm guessing because of the, what is that, the scale length of the guitar. So it's not like a lead instrument where you can do bending and stuff like you can on an RG or something. This is an RG, but it's an 8-string. So, this is the last in our 11 instruments. So we've gone through classical, acoustic, Fender Strat, Fender Tele, Ibanez RG, Ibanez S model, EC1000 LTD, which is a Les Paul style, a Gibson Explorer, the V, which in this case is a Vixen, but you know, flying V, same basic shape, 7-string and an 8-string. So if you're working in a music store or a music school, or you're just trying to pick up students on your own privately, and you want to get an idea of what all the bass, we've covered almost all the bases here except for the really extreme stuff, whereas the like the Kellys and the BC Rich stuff, that's like the Vixens and all that, then you got a better understanding of, you know, kind of what all the electronics do and the tones, clean and distorted, and then more distorted, for just like from a rhythmic standpoint, so you can help your students decide on and have whatever instrument that they want, and have a better idea of the price ranges too. I didn't list any of the price ranges of these, but you know, it's not hard to find them of online teaching. Con number 1, we've got technical issues. Con number 2, we've got the lack of human connection. And con number 3,